Tinkercad added a superpower to the cruise feature. Today we're going to use it to make a marble run, so let's get cracking. Of course, we start at Tinkercad.com. It is 100% free and the absolute easiest way to learn computer-aided design. Today we're going to simply hit Create New 3D Design. I like to start by naming my projects. We're going to call this one Marble 26. I've already made one, so I'm going to call this V2. Now, if you've never seen Tinkercad before, I have a ton of day one tutorials. You can find them with this playlist right here. Today, though, we're going to just start with cool stuff, and it's going to be search. If you click here and type marble, there are several shapes that we can work with. We're going to use all of the ones that are this color, so simply click them and bring them out. This is called cruising. Notice when we set them out, you can see there's that little gray dot that shows where they're going to land, and it lets us see how these shapes are all different. Once we've got them all out here, we need a little bigger world to play with. I'm going to tell you the number I want you to type is 300. I don't want it to get too slow, but I want it to be a little larger so we can actually complete our whole project. When you click on each of these, they tell you what they are. So this one is a straight channel. This one's a 22.5-degree slope. If we go over here, you notice it looks the same, but it's really a 45-degree slope. We are going to make a marble maze, so let's go back to the basic shapes and bring out the sphere, which will be our marble. I'm going to tell you to hold down Shift, stretch, or shrink, and we're going to type the number 9 for the size of our marble. I just find that I like that one. I will show you also if you want a custom color, you can easily click and change it to whatever you like. I'm of course a Lions fan, so we're going with Honolulu Blue. Now we're here today because Tinkercad updated the cruise feature. Let me show you how this works. If we click on an item and hit C for cruise, it gives us a handle that we can grab and set on top or faces or anywhere you want. That doesn't help us because what I want to do is attach it right here. Of course, we still hit C for cruise, but we're going to switch from the shape work plane, which is this dot, to the custom work plane. This lets me pick a custom face that I'm going to attach it to. I'm clicking on my mouse and I'm right-click dragging, and I want to make the face right here. Now I've got a magic handle that I can orient, so I'm right-click dragging to orbit and attach right to that face. Now it does come in upside down, but we can fix that with the mirror tool. I want to flip it vertically, and then you can simply use the arrow to nudge it into place. If you hit F to fit view, it zooms in and lets you line it up so that it's pretty good. If you switch your nudge to say 0.1, you can get it even more perfect. I'm going to click somewhere else, and now you can see we have got the start of a marble maze. Let's grab those two parts. I'm going to look at this from above, select them, and I want to raise this up. I'm going to drag it to any number, but then I'm going to type 100 for the number I want us to start with. Now we can move over to our little sphere, C for cruise, and we're going to just cruise this up into the trough. And let's go to SimLab for our first test. Notice these shapes have an orange geometry. This is snapping into place. Once that finishes, we can start playing. I want to take these two shapes, and currently they're allowed to move, but I'm going to lock them. Now they are static and they can't move. The ball is allowed to move. I am going to change its material to rubber just because it's a little more fun. And when we hit play, our marble maze starts. How cool is that? We can pause, you can slide it back and re-watch it, and this is the technique we're going to use to build our fun marble maze. Right now I'm going to back out and let's go to build mode. I'm going to start by creating another one of these. I can simply do Control D. I'm going to move one of them away, and then I want to attach this face to that face. So once again, C for cruise, custom. I can see that face so I can click it. I'm going to orbit so I can see this face where I want to put it, and now I can grab that and just bring it over and check it out. It snaps exactly where we want it. How cool is that? Now, if we look at this, you can see this one is flat, so I'm going to grab the flat one, C for cruise. I want to pick the custom. I'm going to orbit and find this face, orbit so I can see where I'm going to put it, grab that handle and drop it in place. Now I want to grab the cool little hump. Let's go around and grab the face. Click it, C for cruise, custom. I am hoping someday that we can bounce between these with the tab key, but that is not enabled yet. That's just something I requested from the devs. We'll see if it's possible, but check this out. It snaps right into place. Now, if it doesn't line up perfectly, remember you can nudge it with the arrow keys, but that did line up just the way I wanted. Now let's make a bonus part. I'm gonna take this one and do Control D, D to drop. And I only wanted to go halfway. We do have this little guy that could create a half, but it loses the slope, and I want the slope. So I'm simply gonna cruise this cube right out on this face. I'm gonna grab this handle and stretch it below. Of course, I'm gonna stretch it to the side. The white handle pulls it past, and if we look from the other side, we can grab this black handle and trim it all the way past. Now we keep that gentle slope of that part. We can grab it and do Control G to union group. Bang! Now we've got a 180-degree turn that still has the slope. Now this could be useful for all sorts of marble projects, so let's save it forever by clicking on Your Creations, clicking on the shape, and choosing Create Shape. Of course, we got to put the name, 180-degree marble run. And then I'm going to add the words marble run down here. I'm going to cheat and do Control C to copy and Control V to paste in both those spots. Do make sure you press enter so that tag sticks, and also allow editing, and then finally save the shape. Bingo! If we return to Your Creations from any project, we'll now be able to reuse that shape. So now it's time to attach it. Once again, C to cruise, custom. I want this face right here. Get a view where I can see where I'm gonna put it. Grab the dot and bang, drop it into place. How cool is that? Let's add one more slope. Once again, click on the shape, C to cruise, find your custom button, pick the face that you think fits. I'm gonna pick this one right here. And this one I can already see where I wanna put it. Let's see if this works. Yes, it does. Snap it in place. Let's do F to fit view. Orbit a little bit, and I'm just gonna nudge it because I didn't set it perfectly. Notice while you're in this position, the up arrow moves just like that. I'm gonna click somewhere else, let's zoom out, and I'm gonna finally add this little piece right here. Once again, orbit so I can see the face I wanna connect. Notice this one will fit there. C for cruise, custom. Find that face, get an angle where I can see both, and let's grab the dot and snap it right where it goes. Once again, this one flips, so we're gonna do M for mirror, get it the way it needs to be, and then just use the arrows to knock it into place. F to fit view, and it's just down arrow and right arrow until we're happy. Let's wrap up by connecting this up here. Once again, I'm gonna click on it, C for cruise, switch to custom. And I wanna take this face and I wanna connect it right here. I can see it so it's easy to grab and bring up there, but check this out. It flips wrong in two directions. So I'm gonna do M for mirror, and of course I wanna flip it vertically, but I also wanted it to bend that way. Now this takes a little bit more complex moving, but I'm gonna just shift nudge to get it close. That goes 10 times as far as the 0.1, and now I can just use the 0.1 to get that into place. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, grab the entire project, and let's get it closer to the middle of our bed. And then also I want a cup that catches all this. We're gonna make this real quickly with Sketch Revolve. Simply bring Sketch Revolve out. We're gonna make this cup 8 centimeters wide. Check this out, if we go over 4 centimeters, if you hold down shift, it stays straight. There's my 4 centimeters. Now I'm gonna go straight up, and I'm gonna go up 5 centimeters. I'm gonna just hold down shift so it stays straight. If we hit escape, it wraps up, and if we hit finish, we have got a cup that can catch these. Now I made it too tall, but we're gonna simply shrink it down, and now we can put it in place to catch the spheres. Let's give the SimLab part a test. If we go to SimLab, we have to wait for the geometry to re-snap. And then of course we've got to grab all the new parts and we got to make them so they're static. And with them all static, you can see the blue line. We can now hit play and watch our full marble maze in action. Ah, missed it by that much. I will show you this. We can pause, reset, and we can adjust this so that it's in a little different location with the arrow keys. Let's give it one more test and see if that made it so it works. If not, we'll simply mod how our little bucket is built. Perfect. I'm going to bounce back to the 3D area, and I'm going to adjust this super quick. Once again, when we go inside it, I'm going to just double click and double click on that line, and I'm going to move it out 1 more centimeter. So notice 1 click is 1 millimeter. I held down shift so we could go all 10 millimeters, and bang, we have got a cute little bucket. And I'm going to quickly maximize the sides for smoothness, and I'm going to pick a color that makes my day. So a quick wrap up. I wanted to keep this efficient so you could get in and start mastering the new cruise options. I think these are going to be fantastic for all sorts of projects. Of course, with this where we're trying to match the faces, it was super slick. Now I've got a boatload of SimLab tutorials. Make sure you check the links up above if you want to have some fun and learn about mechanisms and designing in Tinkercad. I think you'll have a blast with them. Of course, if you've got ideas about how to improve this project, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. And if you make your own awesome version, please make it public and share it with the HLMT23 tag. I do quickly want to say thank you to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Also, make sure you pay attention for those members-only posts. A massive shout out as well to everybody that supports me via Patreon. It has a fantastic free messaging area where you can post questions, share designs, gain skills. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day. And keep tinkering.